Regular expressions use certain characters on the keyboard to formulate the search rules. Let's open the Python terminal, and these characters are referred to as meta characters. They will carry special meanings, and I just pasted in most frequently used ones like dots here, which stands for any character at all. There's a caret, dollar, the asterisks, plus sign, and so on and so forth. So these are going to be used to create a rule or search rule for the regular expression module in order to find certain patterns. Let's try it with the dot first. So I'm going to create a variable text with some multi-line string looking like this. So let's just read print text. That's a text I'm going to be using to, let's start with a dot. So the first step, obviously, I already imported module using import re. The next step is to create a pattern. So let's just create a pattern re, and we'll compile certain pattern, and that needs to be in parentheses. Like in the previous video, I will always be using raw strings, so r, and the string which creates the regular expression pattern is going to be in the quotes. So raw string, because I want to avoid misinterpreting certain special characters, slash new line, or backslash new line, backslash tab, and so on and so forth. So if I use just the dot, let's see what happens if my pattern is the dot. This is compiled. This needs to be now found. So I'm going to use a variable hits is equal to following pattern find iter method, iterations of this pattern I just created and compiled in the text I created just above here. So my text is basically all these lines. Now if I do that, I need to display the hits. So I'm going to use a for loop for any hit. So hit will be substituted with a particular value found in the list. Hit in hits, print hit. Let's start with that one. Now, so this is gonna basically match on any character except for the new line. So dot matches on any character, and it displayed pretty much any character in that text. So there's this is the beginning, regular expression. This is the sentence. Regular expressions are designed to find a pattern in the text, la 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 la. So this is what it matched on any character except for the new line. Now let's go for a different thing. So let's start with maybe some classes of characters first. So before I tackle all those carets and dollar symbols and so on and so forth, let's play around with maybe something like this. There's another meta character, /d. If I create a pattern, this is going to be matching on any digits. I've got some digits here. I've got some digits right here. So it should only display the digits. So /d stands for digits. So my new pattern is going to be a regular expression and compile. And I'm going to say raw string. Inside, I'm going to match on anything that is digit related. So character that is 0 through 9 practically. Now again, I'm going to use a variable hits and assign pattern find iterations in the text. So find the iterations of digits in my text. This produces a list. So I'm going to loop through the list for hit in hits, print hit. And now out of this text it only extracted the list of numbers, so one by one. So /d stands for digits in the regular expressions. Let's go back to the dot for a moment. So if I had my dot, what if I wanted to match the actual dots in the text? Because this is now, the dot is now a meta character, meaning any character but the new line. So what if I did want to match on the dots? In that case, the meta characters need to be escaped. So pretty much all these characters I mentioned at the very beginning, all those meta characters, if I want to actually find those in the text, they need to be escaped. If I want to match on any dots, I would need to use a backslash to escape that and say to my regular expression, hey, I'm looking for not any character, I'm looking for the actual dots in the text. So if I do that, and if I do hits, find the iterations of this pattern in the text, and if I display them, now it only displays the dots in the text. In fact, if I display, so this is the 62, thus up to 63 character, not including 63 characters. So if I, let's say, print my text and use slicing from 0 characters, this is the first dot found, so that's going to be the first sentence. If I go for 0 through 63, it should display the first sentence in my text. And voila, that's what it is. So /d is only digits. What Python uses, which is a very handy dandy thing to remember, that there's the opposite of that. So remember I had /d just digits. Find those in iterations and display them one by one using loop. So that is just the digits. Now the opposite of that is uppercase D, which is anything but digits. So it will display everything except for those digits. So if I do this again, and so I compile that, now let's try to find the hits and use the loop to display the results. It displayed everything, but there are no digits in that. So it's handy dandy to lowercase and uppercase. Uppercase is always the opposite of the lowercase. Let's try another one. If I want to find the spaces in the regular expressions in Python are any character like space, tabulator, new line. If I want to find only those, the \s is my regular expression for that. So any space in the text. So let's compile that. Let's create a hits list with pattern found in the text, and let's display the results. So it found only spaces and new lines and tabulators if there are no tabulators in my case, but there's a new line character and a space and space and space. So any space will be lowercase. And obviously by the same token, the text with upper is anything but spaces and new characters. So if I go for this, if I display the results, so anything but the spaces or new lines are displayed here. So all the matches here at the last column is showing me those. Okay, what else? We also have a word characters, so pattern like word character. So word character, let's go for that. And let's create a hits pattern and display the results. So any word character, any alphanumeric character is displayed, and that includes the numbers, but there are no new lines or no spaces in there. And the opposite obviously would be the uppercase W. And again, let's find those and let's display them using the loop. So all these characters that are like at character was found new character, some colon, that's not a word character, and so on and so forth, dots. These characters are displayed. Now, just to see the practical application, maybe quickly, let's open the file that is stored in etc password. So with open, that's how we open the files. It's a local file found in etc. This is the file stored on the Linux systems, which contains the information about the users created on the system. as fp file pointer. If I open the file, I can create a content will equal to fp file pointer, which was opened, and read that content. So now it opened the file, and the content variable contains the output of that file. Let's print this. Okay, so this is a complicated file, but in a nutshell, the first word in the file is the name of the user created. Some of them are system users, some of them are created. For example, down here, it's me. This is my user. So every time the user is created, it creates this user name. There's a colon, there's an X, there's a colon, and there's some, this is actually the user ID and a group ID. But let's just say for the argument's sake, I would like to use the regular expressions to just have the first column, the users. How would I do that? So I see the pattern emerging here in the file, so I can extract that. I see the username, so that's going to be some characters, word characters, I see. Then there's a colon, then there's an X, there's a colon, and some stuff. So I could approach this maybe this way. I could create a pattern which will equal recompile, and my pattern is going to be raw string, inside which I have word characters, and maybe I'll tackle the next one. There's a plus sign in my meta character. At the very top, I have this somewhere here, the plus sign. That one means one or more occurrences of the previous character. Now, my previous character is a word character. So I say there will be word character, which is anything but colon, but new line, followed by, it was a colon, X colon, and something. I don't care about something. So that is going to be basically matching on that. However, if I do that, if I compile that, I will say my hits is equal to pattern find iteration of the pattern in my content. I call this content the file content for hit in hits, print hit. Unfortunately, it will display also this colon X colon. Now, we can use grouping, and in my meta characters list, I have parentheses. Parentheses are used for grouping. So grouping will be used like this. If I create my pattern, I can be smart and say, you know what? I only want that first portion, which is the word character, repeated a couple of times, which is followed by X colon, but I don't want that one. So I can group this one as a group number 1, which is something I'm interested in displaying, and this will be group number 2. How would I do that? Well, the way to do that is to use parentheses. So if I enclose the first searched word in the parentheses, that forms a group number 1. So this is group number 1, which is the word character with one or more occurrences. Then, but it needs to be followed by this X colon. Let's make it a group number 2. I will enclose that in the group number 2. So the first parentheses here is group number 1 now, word character with one or more occurrences, followed by second group, which is the colon X colon. Now, if I do this, formulate my regular expression this way, if I create my hits, so find me those in the text, when I'm displaying that, I'm not going to display hits, but hits, hit, dot, and group 0 would be all of it, which I don't want to. Group 1 is the first column, and group 2 would be this colon X colon that follows that word character or the first column in my file. So let's hit now enter, see what happens. And voila, it only displayed the first column from that list.